get something similar to that. Oh, are we still going?
No, no, I've just started again. I wasn't sure if it was worth
Yeah,
restarting
I
or
don't know
should I
if it
just
is
stop it?
either. We'll see.
I'm sorry, man. It threw me off right there. What were we saying?
But I do
Well,
think
having
that
our
there
own
is
model.
value in creating your own models. I think that the future, as Rob asked us earlier, that we take the pre-trained models that everybody's created, whether that's Mixtral or Claude, from Anthropic or whoever, and train it on your own data set. I don't think a custom GPT eliminates that I can tell their data set. Even if you say, hey, I'm uploading these 20 documents, that's their 20 PDF limit, only reference these. I haven't been able to find it. It only references those. It still has its own, biases and stuff built in. So if you really want to get to the truth of whatever, like your company's culture and training and customer service data, you have to build your own model and strip away all of the core objectives that are programmed into the big models. And I think Mixtral could be a way to do that. We were just talking about healthcare or understanding scientific studies or whatever. And the same thing I think applies there, that if you fed it the raw studies, it didn't have the objective functions that GPT and Gemini use to eliminate
You know,
bias or whatever they want to call it. Um, I think you could get to more accurate information.
the OpenAI's API, if you go into the playground, it's ChatGPT 4 minus a lot of that stuff you're talking about.
Is that right?
So when I'm working on some of that sci-fi stuff, I prefer to use the playground because its brain isn't all jacked up with things. It's much more likely to help me with a fight scene or something a little aggressive, whereas the actual tool, ChatGPT, is not so good at that. In fact, it doesn't have very good narrative quality at all. You have to go into the playground to get really good narrative quality.
So you and I should put together some, I call them like outlier situations, that I can't get GPT to violate.
Oh, and then
Because I want to know the limits, right? So I don't actually necessarily want it to do this. I'm just curious, like what
well,
morality has been programmed into GPT? Because
okay.
there is a morality
Now
plugged
look,
in.
I was looking at some C Dana stuff yesterday, and I had this brilliant idea, but we can't do it because ChatGPT won't allow us to do it. I wanted to do a live stream avatar as an Elvis impersonator. That was a marketing expert. I'm telling you, at Nashville, it would be funny. All we'd have
Yeah.
a little iPad
Wait,
thing and have the live stream. They can punch in their URL, and then the Elvis impersonator avatar could give them all of the feedback on their website. They could have a little chat with it.
and what was its reason? You can't impersonate Elvis?
Well, okay, hold on. Let me find this actual conversation because
Because I feel like that's kind of a thing.
it loved the idea, absolutely loved it. But
Like, isn't Elvis impersonation like
but
pretty
it
common?
when I asked it about, oh, come on now, is this the stupid swap? Oh yeah,
That actually, Chuck, if that's true, this is again why we would need to make our own model. Because, like I was telling you, I was talking to my 6 and 8 year old yesterday about what they would want an AI, a robot. I explained to them, that they can answer questions and tell them stuff to do. It really came back to they wanted to teach them things. I mean, after they said I wanted to buy me Legos, but after they got their Legos, then they just wanted to learn about like, well, I want to learn about different countries and different flags and different areas. My 8 year old in particular has this wanderlust. He just wants to go everywhere and like have that conversation. But I'm like, well, how cool would that be if he could like talk to Abraham Lincoln,
right.
right? Or George Washington, or even fictional characters like John Hammond from Jurassic Park about dinosaurs, and like how much more interactive and cool would education be if you could replicate anyone in those situations? Like I'm telling you, my kids have no tablets, but I would get them some screen time if they were able to, have these discussions with real life replicas of historical figures to teach them about, what they dealt with and, what was going on in their era.
I love that idea, man. But we could probably do it with historical figures, but apparently not Elvis. This was the little chat on it where it loved the idea, really wanted to do it. But then when I started talking to it, yeah, it's like, no, you have to do like a generic rock and roll thing, and you can't have him talk like Elvis, and you can't do this, and you can't do that. And it's like, okay, you know what? No, I'll just go ahead and use Grok. I mean, I told it if you're just gonna be like that, I'm just gonna use Grok. It's like,
Is
okay,
this
cool.
is this because of I saw there it mentioned cultural appropriation, which is the first time I've ever seen those words alongside Elvis in the same sentence. Like, is that even possible? Like, is that why it's not doing it?
You know what? It's okay. Hold on. Let's see. What all did it say? I want to slip, blah blah blah, Nashville. Instead of a single impersonation, Legends of Nashville. It tried to get out of it so hard, man. It
Well,
really.
you gotta appreciate it. Didn't just throw you, just tell you sorry and then like
Oh
figure
yeah.
out your own. Like it's trying to help.
It was in love with the idea at first, man. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Says it's not a stupid idea. It's brilliant. I mean,
It's hilarious. And then it checks in with its overlords, and the overlords are like, well,
yeah.
can't do that though.
Yeah, can't cross any lines. It's got to be the king without being the king. And then it starts describing how you'd have to write it out. And here's the prompt it came up with. That is definitely not an Elvis impersonator prompt. And that was definitely
Why is Elvis the issue? Like I can get it to write poems in the form of Edgar Allan Poe or Emily Dickinson or Walt Whitman or like whatever, right?
some
King
weird.
James Bible.
Okay, because I believe this has to do with the Elvis law.
Oh,
So,
not
yeah.
aware of the Elvis law. You're a wealth of information.
In fact, this is Tennessee's first in the nation to address AI impact on the music industry. And it is actually called, colloquially, I mean, people are just referring to it as the Elvis law or the Elvis bill. It's all about AI and music.
And what is the Elvis law? Can you summarize this for us, or have GPT summarize it for us?
Yeah, let's hop back. Where's my I can't find it. Oh, it was from January. It won't know it. I got to copy paste it, man.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Gemini might.
Yeah, I'd have to open another tab. That's a lot of
Yeah.
work. That'd be rude. Yeah, I can read the data at the top of the thing. All right, so it's basically ensuring.
It is Elvis. Look at that. I didn't realize that was the acronym.
Perfect.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly, this is I was saying this to Casey yesterday. Some days I'm just like I could totally believe we're in a simulation. That, come on.
I mean, it is kind of ridiculous because we could hire an Elvis impersonator for the conference.
Right. You can get a real live one, and that's fine. That's what I don't understand.
Why can't we have a digital one?
I think this goes back to your points that you made several times, Chuck, which I'm coming around to be fair. Which is like, why did you create a new law to make something illegal virtually that's legal, in the real world?
Yeah.
This is a huge problem with politics at the moment, though, because this is to make politicians seem like they're listening to their constituents, or it makes them more popular. They're doing something when actually, like the laws existed for 150 years. Like just enforce that instead.
Yeah.
I don't know that that's a new problem, Rob. Just FYI.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it's designed to safeguard artists and from exploitation by unauthorized AI generated media. Oh.
So I say I don't even know how this works, so maybe I just am ignorant to that. But if I'm dead, am I still afforded these protections?
Well, your estate is. Elvis has
Royalties.
yeah. It's like
All
Michael.
right, so I don't have licensed material personally. So if I die and somebody tries to replicate me, am I
Oh,
different? Am I not the same as Elvis?
oh, that's a good question.
And does that ever like expire? Like if we were taking Bach, right? And we were trying to replicate Bach, like did he have royalties? Did he have did copyright laws even exist?
Now hold on a second.
Now I guarantee you're not gonna be able to create religious figures on Gemini or GPT. You're not gonna get a Muhammad bot to say whatever you want or a Jesus bot. Like, even though I do think like you could use that. Like if I wanted my kids to learn about the Bible, like having Jesus talk to them seems like a cool thing to do, right? Like how useful would that be for I feel like they would interact with that better.
We call it metronome.
Yeah, I mean, you could fake it. I don't know, but the point would be, this goes back to like, where do you draw the line? Because it feels like any line you draw is completely arbitrary.
Yeah, it is really.
Oh, before 1900 we're open? Is that what you said, Rob? Well, there
That's
you
what
go.
Quora
So,
says. So I'm not arguing with that. It's definitely real. It's a fact. But it seems like a well-written couple of sentences, so I believe it.
yeah, it's on Quora. Probably got some thumbs up.
Hmm.
So our teaching
Sorry,
tool for my
just
children using AI can just be everything prior to the 18th century or prior to the 20th century. You said 1900? Yes, prior to the 20th century. So, I mean, that's a start. Not too much important stuff happened since then.
just out of interest, someone's calculated how much Bach would earn on Spotify every year. Do you guys want to have a guess at that?
Say it again.
Who, Beck?
So if Bach were alive today and his music was being played on Spotify, which it is, so if he was to get the royalties, how much do you think he would earn annually? Someone's calculated it.
500,000.
Let's go million.
A year,
I would think.
$300,000 a year, about 25K a month.
That's it.
And who's getting the money now?
Well,
Well,
nobody get
Nobody.
Spotify.
Wait, because he doesn't have an estate or a trust? Is that why?
Bach.
Because it's pre-1900, so
Oh,
you
you
don't own
said
the music
Bach.
and it's
I
in the
thought you
public
said
domain.
Beck.
Bach, not Beck. Yeah, Johann Sebastian.
There, I was thinking of Beck, the alternative music.
Back when he first said it.
Well, there we are again. Another example, right? Like my language wasn't accounted for by you guys, so clearly you're biased. You heard what you wanted to hear.
We did, totally. How does that make you feel?
I feel like Bach Johansson would be a little bit disappointed with only 300K a year. I feel like if your music's still around after 200 years, like you probably should be earning more than 300
what Mozart would be getting.
Yeah, well, probably not as much as Taylor Swift.
Exactly, right? And this is why the world's ending. Mozart would make
However, if you can
270
compound that
a year.
interest for Bach and Mozart over the time since they were died until Taylor Swift started her music, I feel like the compound interest there would be much higher. Granted,
He's a
royalties.
musician. Is that what she does?
Not sure.
I never heard the woman sing. I had no idea. I thought she was just like a fanboy or something, hanging on the Chiefs.
This is what will get us banned from
They're ruining
YouTube.
football for half of America.
You can't speak negatively about T Swift. That's
Oh
a
boy.
violation of YouTube's policies. It might be true. I don't know. I've never tried.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know that anything useful is coming from this conversation now, so we should probably
We
wrap
should
it up.
end it.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.